Hello, welcome to this lesson of Mastering Java. This is lesson number 10. Here we're going to continue working with classes and objects, and we're going to talk about the concept of the constructor for an object or the constructor for a class definition. It's one of those concepts that when you read a book on object-oriented programming, they're always going to start talking about constructors and things, and if you don't have the basic understanding of what an object is or how they work, then constructors seem very, very unclear and very hard to understand. But I'm going to show you in about 5 minutes how easy to understand the concept of a constructor really is. So first, this is lesson 10, and you see a lot of code here. This is a direct cut and paste of lesson 9. I basically just highlighted the whole darn thing and I brought it in here, because the easiest way to demonstrate what a constructor is to really modify what we've done. So just to show you that this code is fully functional, I'm going to save this and I'm going to run it. And this is basically the output of the last lesson, or the last exercise that we did. Basically, we're calling a method to compute some of these values. We're calling the fuel needed method here for our output statement. Now let's remind ourselves here, here's the aircraft class. We have some member variables here. We have 2 integers and 2 double values. And then we have 2 methods that we have basically used, we have defined inside of our class. We have one of them called calculate endurance. That guy operates on 2 of the member variables to calculate how long the airplane can stay in the air in hours. And then we have another method that actually takes an argument in time and basically tells us how many gallons of fuel an airplane is going to take if we fly for X number of hours. So if we fly for 3 hours, how many gallons of fuel that's going to take. That's all that's in our class up till now. And then up here in the main method, we have initialized the object here, Cessna and Piper objects. And then we have this block here, which we've been using to basically put the values into the member variables. We use the dot notation to put the number of passengers, the speed, the number of gallons in the fuel tank, and the how many gallons per hour that guy takes. And then, of course, we have the print statements here, which is using one of the methods here. All right, so that's enough of an overview. The deal with a constructor is, I want you to notice how much overhead is required to create this object first, or these 2 objects. First of all, we have to put this line in, which is the class name, aircraft, and then the object name, and then new aircraft. And that basically goes and creates a new object, assigns it to this name, reserves memory, and so on. So the Cessna object now contains the variables passengers, crews, speed, fuel capacity, and fuel burn rate. When we do the same thing for the Piper, when we create the object here, it again has those same 4 variables. So those basically need to have real values put into there. So we use the dot notation to put them in there. But notice how much space this takes up. I mean, this is a lot. This is a lot to remember to do, to actually initialize all the variables. And also notice that this is only 4 variables in our particular class. A real class in Java may have a dozen variables or more. And so you need to kind of remember to put each one for every single object you create. You have to go in here with the dot notation and put all of the different values in there. Don't put any typos. Don't forget to do one of them. You have to make sure it's all right or nothing's going to work properly. And also just look how much screen real estate in terms of code it takes. Constructors basically eliminate the need to do this blue part, this highlighted part. What we're going to do is we're going to add something called a constructor to this class. It's going to be something we type right in here. And it's going to tell Java, hey, when you create an object, I want you to initialize these variables with values. So then whenever we initialize the object, or we instantiate the object, whenever we create it up here in this line right here, we'll just pass the 4 values inside of this parentheses, the passengers, the cruise speed, the fuel capacity, and the burn rate. Then whenever the object is created, it'll put those values in here. And that's what a constructor does. You think of a constructor as something that's being built. That's what a constructor does, or somebody that builds something. Well, that's what a constructor for the class is doing. It's putting those values in and fully forming the object, so it's kind of constructing it for you. All right, so enough talking. The way to create a constructor, let me go ahead and take this method here and bounce it down. Basically, it's going to look like a method, but the method name has to be very exact. The method name here, or the constructor name, has to be aircraft. It has to exactly match the name of the class we have. All right. Also, you don't want to put void or integer or anything out in front of it, because it's not really a method that returns anything, and it's really not a method exactly in the same way that some of these other methods are. So you don't put a return type in front, and the name of the constructor has to exactly match the name of the class. That's how Java knows it's a constructor, right? And then you go ahead and you put your parentheses, and then you have to define to Java what values this constructor is going to take. Now we know it needs 4 values because we plan to initialize all 4 of these variables. We also know that it's going to need 2 integers and 2 doubles because these are the variables we want to initialize. So you need to put some parameters in here, just like we've done for methods. So you know integer, and you can name the variable, the parameter, anything you really want. But I'm just going to name it with the first letter of whatever it is we want to eventually assign it to. So I'll take integer P, integer C, that's for cruise speed, and then I'll say double fuel capacity, that's FC, and double fuel burn rate, FBR. And then I'm going to go and hit an open curly brace and hit enter, and my closing curly brace is now formed. And notice that whenever I do that, all of the red text that was there, see, notice the red guy was there trying to warn me. Whenever the bracket comes back, all of that disappears, and now Java recognizes that this is a constructor. It knows it's a constructor because it's inside the aircraft class. It's a method with the same name as the name of the class, right? And there's no return method out in front. These 4 values are the 4 values that this constructor is going to accept. Now inside of here, it's very, very simple. You just take the variable passengers, right, which is what you're trying to assign or trying to initialize, and you're going to set it equal to whatever this constructor receives for the variable P. And then cruise speed, you're just going to set it equal to whatever the second value is, which is the value that comes down when we create the guy. Let me go ahead and hit semicolon. And then fuel capacity is just going to equal FC because that's the name that I'm kind of given whatever the third value is here. And then fuel burn rate is equal to FBR. So this is the constructor. I'm going to go ahead and save it. Very, very simple. I think you would agree. All you're doing is you're giving it a name. You're telling Java that it's going to accept 4 values, and then you're basically assigning those different values to the member variables that we're trying to initialize. Right? That's called a constructor. Now let me show you how to use the constructor. Let's go up to the top. Notice that once we made those changes, our object creation doesn't seem to work anymore. You know, in fact, if you try to run this, it's going to tell you errors exist in the project. So you might say, what's the deal here? Well, what's going on is the purpose of a constructor is to initialize the object with values whenever you create the object. But see here, whenever you have the creation of the Cessna 172 object, the way you're supposed to do it is you're saying create a new object of type aircraft or of class aircraft. Now we have to pass the values to the constructor, which you can read them right off the screen from here. That's why I left them there. 4, 140, 56.5, 9.5. And notice that when I do that, this red line disappears. So basically putting all this stuff in here inside the constructor allows me to delete all of this because that's completely doing the same thing. What's happening is when I create the Cessna 172 object, a new object is created of type aircraft. And you can almost read this now as almost like a method call. That's what a constructor kind of is. It's almost like a method, right? Notice that I've got sort of the method name or the constructor name with a set of parentheses with 4 values. So these 4 values, first, second, third, and fourth, come down and get passed into the constructor and assigned to these parameters here, which are then assigned to the member variables. Notice I don't have any dot notation here because Java knows that whenever I'm creating this object, the Cessna 172 object, and I'm doing this constructor business, that whenever I do these assignments inside of here, it has to go into that object that I'm creating, which is the Cessna object. So when I'm assigning P to passengers, I'm assigning it to the variable for the Cessna object. When I'm assigning the cruise speed, I'm assigning it for the cruise speed object. All right, now to do the Piper, it's exactly the same thing. Inside of the parentheses, it's 6, 201, 102.5, 20.5. Notice when I do that, this all disappears. So I can actually delete the Piper Saratoga information, and I can go up and just kind of delete this white space here. Notice how much cleaner the code looks. Whenever you're reviewing this, you can easily see, okay, we're creating two objects. Here's the name of the first object, and here are the four values that are initializing into that constructor. And if I don't know what these four values are here, it's very easy to go down and look and see, okay, well, one of them is for passengers, one of them is for cruise speed, one of them is for fuel capacity, one of them is for fuel burn rate. And I can kind of piece it together and see what's happening there. Then when I create the next object, I'm just passing different values into the constructor. If I want to create a third object or a fourth object or a fifth object, it will be a simple matter of another line for each one of them, passing the values into the constructor to fully form the object. So let me go ahead and hit run here, and you should see all of this down here remain exactly unchanged. So let me go ahead and hit run here. Notice all the values here are exactly the same. Now these methods are still working fine. I can put different values in, for instance, for the 1.25, I can put 2.56, and I can pass this 2.56 into that method that we've created to calculate the number of gallons of fuel. Notice that it's a different amount of fuel here. So everything's working. The method calls are working. Everything's behaving exactly the same. It's just that, let me go back to lesson 9 for a moment. Basically, we have completely eliminated the need for all of this initialization, all of this kind of ugly code that just sits before I can actually do anything useful is now wrapped up in a single line in a constructor. That is the way you're going to see most programs written. All right, so we introduce things a certain way. I introduce things this way because you can understand it and it makes sense. But then eventually we get to the point where you see that, well, really you're probably going to see this most of the time. All right, now I want to show you a few things about constructors before we go too far. Notice that the constructor is formulated where it assumes that it takes four values. First one's an integer, second's an integer, next one's a double, next one's a double. All right, so if you accidentally, for whatever reason, initialize the Cessna object and forgot to put the 9.5 at the end, so you initialized it like this, notice there's a red line. And when you hover over that, it tells you the constructor aircraft is undefined. So that is a fantastic safety feature when doing programming, because it's very common when you have lots of objects and lots of code that you might forget to initialize one of the values. Now, let's go back to lesson 9 for a moment. If I were doing things this way, if I accidentally comment this line out, then the code's still going to run. It may not run well, but an error is not going to be thrown up if I forget to do one of these guys. All right. But whenever I forget to put something in a constructor, Java knows what to expect here. So it's going to give me an error. So it's going to kind of force me to initialize things the right way. Once I have my class set up properly, it's going to force me to initialize it with 4 items like this. All right. The next thing I want to show you is, again, notice that the constructor is expecting integer, integer, double, double. So let's go up here and let's say I accidentally initialize the number of passengers, that's the 4 there, with 4.1. Let's say it's a typo. Or let's say I was doing 4.0, right, because it's four people, right? Notice how everything's red again. So that's an error. When you hover over it, the aircraft constructor is undefined because it's trying to tell you that there's a problem, there's a mismatch. In the constructor, I'm expecting 2 integers to be the first 2 values, but here I'm trying to pass it a decimal. That's not going to work because that 4.0 would need to be assigned into an integer called p, and that's just not going to work. That's what that error is coming from. So constructors serve a lot of purposes. The first one is it cleans up your code and it makes it more readable. The second one is it actually prevents you from creating coding errors, because once you set your class up with your constructor, you have to initialize everything properly or it's just not going to work. Now, the last thing I want to tell you is, let me go ahead and save this. The last thing I want to tell you is we have talked about how we have a constructor here, and this constructor is called aircraft, which is the same name as the class, and we're saying that it takes 4 values. Now that you know that this is a constructor and that these are the 4 values, let me go back to lesson 9 for a minute and let's kind of revisit what we've been doing previously. When we created the objects previously, this was the line that created the object, and then we populate the values into the member variables, right? But here, I think you can kind of see now that you can kind of look at constructors as methods that just assign values into the variables, you can see that this is almost like a method call with no parameters in here, nothing passed to it. So I guess the thing to tell you is that whenever you look at classes in Java, okay, even if you do not define a constructor, there's always going to be a constructor in the background in Java. See, in this particular case, in this old version of the class, we had the class definition, we had this method, and we had this method. We did not have a constructor here. All right, so if you don't list an explicit constructor, then when you call this create the new object, you're basically calling an invisible constructor with the name aircraft. That's just not printed here. Java kind of creates it for you. And what it does is that constructor is not written here, but if you don't provide one, what that does is it puts zeros into these values here. It puts default values into your member variables. So for numeric values, it's going to put a 0 inside of there. So I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that even if you don't specify a constructor, like what we were doing before, when you create the object, Java is doing the initialization of kind of a default constructor behind the scenes, and then we're just populating those variables with real values later. Now, contrast that with this. When we specify our own constructor, this is the constructor that is then used, and that's why we need to pass these values, because we've kind of defined that template down there in the constructor to tell it what to expect. All right. So, very important lesson on constructors. It's something you're going to run into in object-oriented programming quite a bit. Make sure you understand how they're formed, what they do. Basically, it's the same name of the class, no return type out in front, and then you have like a method, like parameters. You specify what it accepts, and then you assign the variables in there. I hope you can see how easy it makes your code readable, how clean it looks, and why they're really used so much. So kind of get used to this idea, and then follow me on to the exercises. Go ahead and try to do that exercise. We'll be working with the grocery store class again and creating a constructor for that situation. So go ahead and try to do that yourself, and then you can see how I've done it and see how your methods compare. So make sure to understand this, then follow me on to the next lesson in Mastering Java. We're continuing to learn how to do this stuff step by step, which I think is the easiest way to learn anything, especially programming, where everything is done in a step-by-step fashion.